have another eggplant here. I don't know what variety of eggplant. That's a bell pepper, and that's a bell pepper. So like I said, this had a lot of weeds in it. So I ripped all those out, and I got some grass down. I'm kind of hoping these really take off. It's still early enough in the season. And the carrots, I've been eating some of the carrots. I'm really kind of surprised they've gone to seed already. Hopefully they're still good to eat. And there's like 3 of them already gone to seed. Never been successful at saving carrot seed. This is my second planting of squash. Most of this is yellow squash. So I'm hoping the grass mulch will also help these. Probably have to pull a few of them out. They're planted a little close to each other. See which ones do the best. Got some eggplant. Eggplant, what am I talking about? Green onion. So we use it every now and then. This is the basil, and there is basil growing here if you can spot it. I see at least 2 of them. Oh, maybe 3 now. But mostly it's this stupid weed here. I just get those everywhere. Grow up like that. But you can tell, leaves are a little different on them. That's a basil, that's a basil, and just saw that one, that's a basil. Don't notice any others in there. I know there's a lot more seed, but that's all that came up, but that's plenty. We don't use a lot of basil. This looks like an habanero pepper. Hopefully he'll take off. This is a zucchini I planted months ago and just did awful. I mean, look at that stem, it is all torn up. I probably should just rip it out, but it's still alive. And the kale, don't eat the kale, feed the rabbit with it. It's doing good enough. Mini pumpkins, completely gone. Just a few hanging on the vine. They'll probably just rot. I have had the largest, what I thought were June beetles or Japanese beetles. Turns out they're green June beetles. So I got these out. Catching some. Catch them when they're young. Like they're all small in here. But they get big, like an inch, almost an inch and a half. They'll probably be out soon. They just swarm around the garden. Okay, now this I'm really liking. Check out the green beans. It's just a wall of green beans in there. And for the longest time, I wasn't getting any green beans, even though I have tons of flowers. Oh, there's another bee. Good job, buddy. You keep going. But I am starting to get plenty of, well, I shouldn't say plenty, because I'm having a hard time finding some. But I'm starting to get beans. Guess you'll just have to believe me. I don't know where they all gone. The animals aren't bothering anymore. It's large enough. If they did, probably could survive it. This volunteer tomato plant is doing pretty well. If you can see down there, some of the tomatoes that are growing. This is going to be a cherry tomato. There's a green bean. Another one there. The bean part of it's not really getting big, so I don't know when you're supposed to pick them. I mean, it's probably ready. We'll have green beans for dinner tonight. Because I think if I dug through this, I could find enough. But man, I got a lot of these bumblebee or yellow jackets, whatever they are. Yeah, a bunch of them. Okay, there are some pepper plants down here, but I think they're just getting too choked out to probably ever do anything. Oh, here's a couple beans. I'm sure they're ready to eat. Okay. Alright, now for the main garden area. This is volunteer tomato. I would guess it's some kind of beefsteak just because of what grew here last year, but that's a lot of flowers for it to be a beefsteak. The cucamelon vines are starting to take off. And I am starting to get some cucamelons. So that's pretty cool. Once they start, you usually get a bunch. Here's more of that weed I was talking about. I don't know how this spreads, by seed or by what. I don't understand how there can be so many of them. There are. Okay, not a whole lot going on in here. Volunteer tomato plant. We'll find out what that is. Mystery squash. Hopefully whatever killed the other ones don't kill these. I got one there, and I got one there. I also have the eggplant growing here. Some really tall plants, not a whole lot of eggplant. This one's been doing well. This white one, I've been getting a lot of eggplant off of this one. And this is a white one also. And it looks like it's starting to pick up in production. Maybe tie that branch up. I get a lot of these vines too. Hey, another mystery pumpkin, squash, whatever plant. I'll let that go. I don't need it. These eggplant ever start producing, I don't need a ton. But I would like some. And this is probably a white eggplant based off the size of the plant. And then got some eggplant growing down there. Oh, there's a big one back there. He's ready to be harvested. Well, that's by far the best one of the season. Shouldn't let that go to waste. And we got a jalapeno plant. Lots of flowers, no jalapenos. I'll need that for my hot sauce too, so I'd imagine that'll really start picking up in production. And the watermelon. So this guy was growing, doubling in size almost every day. Now it's stopped. So hopefully he picks up again. And I got this guy here. He's a little behind, but still growing, catching up. Just started a little later. And that's it. I had another one over here, but I accidentally knocked it off when I was killing the June beetles. So hopefully it'll put a different one on to replace it, but I have not seen it yet. This weed here, I think I mentioned this last week, that's actually called pokeweed. Finally remember the name, but it's starting to put its berries on. They're really nice looking when they turn purple. I gave the maple tree a hacking. Probably could use a little bit more of a hacking. And nothing growing here. And over here, the kale has rebounded. It's turning into a decent kale plant. And the volunteer tomato plant starting to put on a few tomatoes. Don't get a lot of sun over here. The neighbor's got these trees there. So it probably only gets like 2 hours, 3 at the most of sun a day. So I'm not expecting much from there. Okay. So now for inside the netting. You can see I got another June beetle bag hanging up out here. With a vine. You see how far this vine goes. When it takes off, it takes off. Okay. Probably really need to get in here and do some more weeding. Just haven't done it yet. Okay. Do have some cucumbers in here. They were a second planting, so they're still small. Something's been enjoying chewing on it, probably the June beetles. Got one there. So, waiting for those to take off. This is starting to turn into a jungle over here, so I'm not even sure I can walk back there. do have some beans growing. I don't know if you can see those or not. Those I think they're turtle beans. I think you're supposed to have them mature and then save the dried seeds. And then if you look at these tomato plants, so I'm sure if you watch my videos you know the story behind these, but for anyone new, these are off of salads at Texas Roadhouse. They're cherry tomatoes, and you can tell why they use them for commercial production. Like, look how many. Just imagine a field of these tomato plants growing and how many tomatoes they must get. There's just so many flowers, and I'm sure I don't get as much production as it does in a commercial field, but trust me, I get more than I need. And it has good disease resistance too. It does look like there's some starting down there, so I should get down there and some tomatoes. Cut these off, but that's just a lot of work. Okay, so now my Roma tomatoes. The production on these are crazy. Just look at all those tomatoes. More starting up here, more starting there. Taking their own sweet time getting red. But man, when they do, that doesn't look good. Probably got here and cut those off too. And I got a beef steak. Those are looking pretty good. I don't look like they're getting huge, but not bad. I also got another cucumber plant, but they might end up getting choked out. More, ooh, my first red tomato. There's just so many tomatoes. That does make me happy. Look at that. Oh, it fell off. Huh. Well, hopefully that'll just ripen inside. These tomato plants are starting to get out of control. I mean, mostly Roma tomatoes. I'm going to have so many of them as long as these plants survive. Should really get out here and work on them. I believe these are beefsteak over here. They're not putting any tomato. There's some. Not putting a lot of tomatoes on yet. So these are really jammed in here, and I'm afraid it's just going to start spreading disease once it starts. But I should really get in there and clean them up. Okay. The only other things I really have this week are my strawberry project. It's not working, nothing's sprouting. I don't know if it's just the seeds or some tomatoes maybe. Could be the dirt. I don't know. I don't know how strawberries work. The seeds on the outside of them sprout or not. I got my volunteer. Not volunteer, but the raspberries that spread through here. Not putting any on yet. And then the last thing I wanted to show you guys is my pineapple. It's doing just fine. It's growing. I took out the other one, so I just got the one in here. It's all I want. But it's growing nicely. I'll try to overwinter that, see what happens, and who knows, maybe we'll get a pineapple after all, but I really doubt it. The lettuce going to seed. That'd be nice to have some extra lettuce seed. Anyway, that's the video for this week. If you guys have any comments, questions, anything else you want to see, just let me know. Just leave it in the comments. Appreciate everybody who stops by and watches and comments. And I hope everybody is having a great gardening year, and I will see everyone next time.